All right, good afternoon, folks. Paddy, Quinn, along with Chris Doyle and professional wrestler Tyson Dux. Good to see and hear from old friends again. Amir Mashir, who's doing big things abroad. Tyson, thanks for coming into 95.9 SUNFM.
Hey, you know what? I'm happy to be here with you guys today.
Chris asked you off the record. I'll ask you on the record. Is this a working vacation, or are you just home visiting family and friends?
Mostly just vacation home, seeing the old homestead and mom and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I got out to St. John to work with some kids, just teach them a little bit. And that's about it. No wrestling.
And when you say kids, these are kids who are traveling down the same road you took?
Same road I took. They're probably in their like 20s and stuff. So I'm trying to show my age here, but no, they're mid 20s. Good set of guys, and just eager to wrestle, right? So I'm trying to teach them a little bit more advanced stuff.
How healthy is the wrestling scene down Atlantic Canada way?
Atlantic Canada, has great promise. Like, Grand Prix came through here and kind of ruined it a little bit. I think a lot of guys, very unprofessional kind of thing, whatever. But like LCW out of Newfoundland is doing some great things, and XWA, I know out of St. John they're good guys, and over in Prince Edward Island, you got. Cowboy Mike Hughes doing some really good stuff over there.
Now, you mentioned XWA last year, about this time, you got to wrestle at the Civic Center in front of your hometown crowd. What was that like?
You know what? I've never got to work home. I've never got to wrestle anywhere close to home. I've always been in Japan or U.S. or Central Canada. But man, what a great feeling, and how it was quite emotional. My father had passed away, so he didn't get to see it. But it was very emotional. I felt as though he was there, and it was great. I can't thank home enough for coming out.
As you guys talk about XWA here, and correct me, Doyle, you have an opinion on this too. I'm very much on the outside looking in, but the night they were here, and I was fortunate enough to get in the ring and do some announcing, which was a real thrill. But Tyson, these guys seem to be doing it right. They respect the sport.
Oh, they love it. They love it. Those guys, not very often will I offer my services and have people take up on the offer. Like, I have a school in Windsor, and I teach a lot of promising new prospects there. And anybody that needs a little bit of help, I'll offer my services. But they think they're better than they're better than working with me. So. But these guys are great. Like, just a good bunch of guys. And if you ever get to see an XWA show, check it out. They're just so enthusiastic about doing good stuff.
So if we can kind of move back a litlittle bit, how does a guy from Miramichi get to where you are now?
Good question.
Yeah, you know what? I think you got to leave. I really think you got to leave and find your roots somewhere else, because home is always going to be home. And you'll get the chance to come home and do it, but like, you gotta go to a mainstream market, and I think you gotta go to schools like I did. I went to Ontario and went to school, and just got beat up for a year to do what I do, right? But I think you need outside help, because then you can't retreat to home.
Tell me the difference between WWE, some TNA work, the Impact Wrestling show. The difference between maybe working the Civic Center and working a bigger show like that.
Yeah, I never get that question enough. I can only get it every once in a while, but to work in front of 300, 400 people that are your people, your community, your friends and family, I think they're a little bit more picky. They really want to see, they want a good show out of you. And when you're in front of small crowds on an independent level, like the smaller levels, it's harder to wrestle in front of them. It's harder to get reactions because it is a smaller group. I keep telling the guys, like last week, I said, it's easy. My biggest crowd was WWE, and the Air Canada Center was 18,662 people. Mm-hmm. That's a big crowd. Mm-hmm. And it's easy to make those people come off their chairs because they'll follow each other. So as soon as a couple start cheering or chanting, the others come with them. So it's way easier to be on the bigger scene than it is on the smaller scene.
You know what? Can I say this? When the lights go down, whether there's 18,000 or 300 at the Civic Center, it's showtime in your world.
It's showtime, without a doubt. I've wrestled in front of my smallest crowd ever, embarrassingly enough, but it's still a cool story. It was 7 people, and I still went out there and did it. I still went out there and did my thing.
They paid their freight at the door. They want to see a show.
If they pay their admission at the door, they expect to see the same quality show that you would give if it was 300 people there.
Who do you watch? also a fan. So who do you want to see on TV these days?
I'm a huge fan. Like wrestling, I drive my girlfriend, I drive my mom when I'm home crazy. The only one that don't drive crazy is my youngest son, who loves it as much as I do.
Right.
But I watch it nonstop because I'm always studying and learning. So, like, when I was a kid, you know how it always was, is Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior,
Sure.
Ricky Steamboat.
Yes.
Nowadays, it's like I go back and I watch The Rock. I go back and watch Austin because these guys made money. So I'm trying to learn still their charisma and how they made money. But, like, I love Randy Orton's stuff. Daniel Bryan right now is on fire. And Antonio Cesaro, I know these guys from working with Ring of Honor, and these guys are, I know these guys, you know. So, like, Cesaro, who was Claudio, that guy is amazing. You just wait and see. You just wait and see what he'll pull out in the next couple of years. It's amazing.
And much like most of us around here in Atlantic, Canada, you started out watching Grand Prix Wrestling. All of us did, I suppose.
Grand Prix Wrestling was
Like Leo Burke and the
when
boys?
Emile Dupree run it down here. That's what got me hooked as a little kid.
Sure.
Is I watched the Acadian Giant Kurgan.
Yeah.
I watched Stephen Pettipaw, and Leo Burke was the man. And still today, I watch his old stuff. Leo Burke was amazing.
Where are some of the hot spots in Canada as far as wrestling goes? Where you go into a town, you're going to draw a crowd.
I know St. John's, Newfoundland is always big.
Come on, yeah.
And they're ready to go. They are amped. I heard that XWA this year, I couldn't be home in time, had an amazing show here in Miramichi. So, you know what I mean? Like a second time around, you get a bigger crowd. That's awesome. Like Ontario's kind of hit and miss because there's so many promotions and so many different wrestlers. You know what I mean? You'll get a good crowd and you won't get a good crowd. It's the luck of the draw, luck of the day, right? And it's just all over the countryside. It's the same way. You'll find hot spots. You know, I'm going to Pakistan and for 2 weeks in September. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm a little nervous, but 5 shows, 2 weeks, and it's supposed to be packed.
Doyle, am I correct in saying here, as he mentions that show in Miramichi, we were north of 600 that night?
We 600 or 700 is
so
what
600
we
or 700
got,
is a good draw here on a Saturday night, right?
Definitely. That's a big draw for a small group. Was Demolition here? That was the draw, right?
That was the Demolition show.
Demolition,
Absolutely.
yeah. So, like anybody, like those old guys, if you get to see them and just talk to them for a couple of minutes, it's amazing just to hear one story.
Well, you know what? I had the pleasure of interviewing them here prior to that show, and the one thing they said, and I asked them because one of them, correct me if I'm wrong, Doyle, you're a little bit more hardcore than I, is over 60 for sure.
Yes, Axe, who's Mass Superstar, 65 years old.
So naturally, a few aches and pains over the years, but he said, man, when the lights go down, those aches and pains go away. Same in your world?
Oh, man, I tell you what, I'm 35, and I feel as though I'm 55.
Yeah.
My body's gone through so much with working in Japan and stuff like that. It's a different game over there. So, a suplex will put you on your head. It won't put you on your shoulders. They'll put you on your head. Mm-hmm. So, after all these aches and pains and stuff like that, as soon as my music hits, and I can pull that curtain aside and come through there.
Showtime when the music's up and the curtain gets pulled back. Tyson Dux with Chris Doyle and myself, Paddy Quinn, at 95.9 SUNFM. Thanks for listening to segment number 1. I'll be posting segments 2 and 3 in the days to come. Here is part 2 of our interview with pro wrestler and Miramichi native Tyson Dux. With myself, Paddy Quinn, and Chris Doyle. We pick the conversation up with Tyson's upcoming trip overseas.
So, I'm going to have a bulletproof vest. I've already told them that I need an armored guard security because I'm the big bad guy there. I'm the jerk of the jerks when it comes to them.
I love it.
Tiger Fest. It's the legend Tiger Jeet Singh. It's his company. So Tiger Fest in Ontario on Canada Day, they have a big celebration. There's 100,000 Indians. They come. There's about 25,000 Indians watch the show outside, and every year they look to kill me. They look for blood every year. So now, of course,
you okay with that? Or?
That's what I know. I'm doing my job well. Guys are throwing rocks at me, and
sure.
You know what I mean. One guy jumped the rail and punched me last year. So this year was all right. But
let me jump in there. But if I jump the rail and punch you, your natural inclination is to want to punch me out, is it not?
Right. Yeah, I was on the outside of it, and he punched me in the lower back and then run away.
Give you a kidney shot.
I couldn't get them. I wanted to get them, but I couldn't get them, jerk. But no, nothing this year. But I always have to have a group of security guys around me at all times, taking care of me. So in Pakistan, I imagine I've already said it in our negotiations to go over that will have to be doubled.
So in all seriousness, when plane touches down in Pakistan, you're expecting all hell to break loose, for lack of a better term.
Pretty much, yeah. I'm gonna have to stay. That they've told me already that you're gonna treat this as seriously as you do on our one show. It's 2 weeks of this, so you're probably gonna have to stay in your hotel room a lot. You can't mingle with all the people. That's the kind of atmosphere they're gonna try to keep my. They said bring a hoodie so I can cover up. And so when I leave, they don't know who I am.
So no sightseeing for you.
Well, hopefully I'll get a little bit when the first day I arrive, but I imagine from the first day until the very end, I won't be able to see very much.
So what's the Pakistan grind? Are you doing a couple shows over the course of X amount of days?
5 days. There's going to be 5 shows in 2 weeks.
Oh my God.
So they're going to spot them out. Probably on the second last day, it'll be the biggest show that they have. And I'm just expecting insanity.
Well, put some numbers to this. When you say big show, you're talking what?
I'm talking like 60,000 people.
Holy smokes, really?
I'm talking like the Tigers always do their thing. They always do it right. And I expect it to be nothing less than that, 50,000
So we're talking
people
like a soccer stadium here or something like that?
Yeah. They're looking at those now. They're looking at soccer stadiums and stuff that can hold that amount of people. They have to bring in that many people because the rupee is, I think it's 100 rupees to an American dollar.
Right.
So they really have to pull in a ton of money to make this work, So they're looking for soccer stadiums and stuff.
That said, have you ever worked a room that big?
I've never worked a soccer stadium.
Now, we started this conversation talking about how, the young kids in XWA, where do you see yourself? Do you see yourself still looking for that TNA deal, that WWE developmental deal? Do you see yourself still there? Or have you said, I'm going to do the international travel and wait till my young lad's a little older?
And before you answer that, is this guy not hardcore or what?
You know what, Chris? You're amazing. You know your stuff. That's awesome. I love questions like, you get the run-of-the-mill questions. Before I answer all those ones, you get the run-of-the-mill questions where guys will talk about, like, who'd you wrestle in WWE and who's the biggest and who's that stuff. This is the stuff that I like. This is refreshing.
La Resistance on Velocity teaming with Bobby Roode.
Yeah. Oh my. See what I mean? That's pretty impressive. Because I was a skinny little kid back then. But no, I'd say I can't even remember the question now. What was the question?
Well, I guess what's the goal here? Look, if you're a hockey player, you want to play in the NHL. You're a rock star, you want to play Madison Square Garden. If you're a wrestler, you want to be.
Yeah, you know what? That's the long-term goal is to get back to WWE.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in talks with them, and I had a tryout last September. I'm on their list of light heavyweights, top of the list to get hired. So I'm a 1 to 5. So he said there's 5 names on this list. I don't know where I am on this list. I'm on the list to get a look at their new training camp, NXT down in Florida, that new facility that's amazing. Right. So that's probably where I'll end up in the next couple of years. If not, I love Ring of Honor is a big company now. Yeah. They got TV deals. You see it here on the East Coast. They got their show. So I'm looking to work with my buddies there. I love all the guys at Ring of Honor are just the most talented bunch of guys, and they get picked up by the WWE. So it's one or the other. You either jump a big step, or I'm going to take a couple other steps. But the goal is to get my foot back in that WWE ring, do something with myself for a couple of years before I'm all broken down, and maybe leave a door opening for my kid who just absolutely loves it.
Stupid question. I apologize, and I might have to go a long way around to get there, but I'll get there. I promise you both. Let's assume you're a hockey player. It's possible that a team in some town you've never heard of needs a body tonight. Does that exist in your world? The phone could ring tonight and say, hey, Dukes, we need you. We're in Hartford, Connecticut. Pack up and roll. You know what? It has happened to me. WWE has called me and said, we have absolutely nobody for Nova Scotia. Right. And this was back in the day, in 2003. And they said, can you get out here immediately? And they said, yeah, we can fly out. And it was like 2 days before the show. So that said, when that call comes from WWE, no matter where you are, what you're doing, family aside, I suppose, you answer that call. We just drop whatever I'm doing. Yeah. It don't matter what I'm doing. I could be, doing the dishes. Those dishes are broken. Because I am I got my bags packed. I'm ready to go. Like, I'm always ready. So I'm always shape ready. I'm always tanned up. I'm always ready. That's what kids don't get is they let themselves slack.
I never let myself slack. I'm always on the ready.
Who do you want to see on the other side of the ring from you?
I would like to get a chance to work with, Seth Rollins works for the Shield. He's in the Shield with WWE. Me and him locked horns at ROH one time. I'd like to get back in there with him because, I just got it. Like, I want that second match with that guy. Daniel Bryan's another one because he's on a real hot streak. Randy Orton's always been like somebody that I want to get in, like guys that can bring my level of game up more, because you're only as good as your opponent. You can carry them, as we call it, carry a guy and have a good match, but you're only as good, or your match is only going to be as good as the guy that's in there with you.
And that's interesting too, because the guys you like to watch are the guys you want to wrestle, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Stupid
Definitely.
question. Again, boys, I apologize here, but when you say Daniel Bryan's a guy on a quote-unquote hot streak, that hot streak is very fleeting. It could end tomorrow, correct?
It could end tomorrow. It depends on how Vince handles the situation. It depends on how Daniel comes off. But like guys have been on a hot streak. Like, you remember The Rock when he was really, really big?
Sure.
And then he went and did a movie and came back. They hated his guts.
Yeah.
It only takes a minute and it's gone. Like, that was me when I was there with them from 2000, 2004. I was on a real hot streak, doing that little dance and stuff like that, and doing a little jig and wrestling a little bit. Everybody loved me. The moment I got hurt and I was off the shelf for 9 months and then came back, they didn't care. They didn't care about that dance. Didn't get any reaction, and they just sent me home.
When you say they, you mean the fans?
Fans. Yeah, fans didn't care.
And to the wrestler in you, that is, I don't want to say offensive, but a letdown?
Well, it's not a letdown. I'm the letdown. Like, even though you don't really intend to get hurt, or the accidents happen.
Right.
I didn't mean to get hurt, or the guy didn't mean to hurt my knee. At the end of the day, when you feel as though you've let yourself down, like you've missed your window, because wrestling is about timing, and if you're not there at the right time, it's gone.
So knee would be worst injury?
Knee was really, really bad. That took me out of the game. And I had to take a year off because of my neck. I was getting tingles down my left toes and my left fingers. Yeah, tingles right in the end. And instead of being smart and taking actual serious time off, I went and boxed for a year. I just decided to get my head rattled a different way.
So when you have these bumps, bruises, aches, and pains, and you go to your doctor of choice, does he or she say, listen, this is crazy, you got to stop this?
All I don't even have a family doctor. My family doctor has only been Dr. Wilson, who has now since passed away here in Miramichi. That's how long ago I've had a family doctor, because I really can't stand the idea of going into a doctor and telling them for that whole reason.
Here's how this happened, Doc.
Right. So all I have is, God bless him, I got one chiropractor up in Ontario that does a little bit of massage therapy and a lot of chiropractic work to me. And he's the only guy I have, but every time I go in there, he will mumble under his breath. He's hilarious to listen to, because he'd be like, I don't know. What is wrong with you? You're like, every time you come in here, it's like a guy that he treats with a car accident is how I come in there with him.
I apologize if this is a rude question, and I caution saying that to a professional wrestler. God knows what could happen here, but you're 35. Is there an expiration date on this where it suddenly starts to pass you by and they go, okay, he's old news?
You know what? I don't think there is anymore. I think back a couple of years ago, they were saying, the rumor was they weren't taking anybody over 30.
Right.
And so when I went back for my tryout in September, that guy had been released. He'd been fired. He's the guy that kept me away from getting my job back, right? Or even a tryout. So when I went back in and worked with the new crew, that's the first thing I asked. I'm like, guys, I'm 34. Is there even a spot here for a 34-year-old? And they said, well, he said, at the rate, because I had to wrestle a couple matches, he said, at the rate that you wrestle on your level on an independent or Japanese scene, and the way you go and as hard as you go, you only got 5 years left. But if you come to WWE, you'd have at least 10 to 12 years left, because the pace is different.
Here is part 3 of our interview with pro wrestler and Miramichi Tyson Dux. We pick up part 3, talking about some of Tyson's all-time favorite wrestlers and who he grew up watching. All right, to heck with Tyson, the professional wrestler. Let's talk about Tyson, the fan. Give me a top 5, your all-time favorites. Span the ages for me.
All right, if you were going to sit with me in my living room, and I had the converter, the magical converter to watch.
Converter, whoa!
To watch
We're getting
whatever
old
I
school
want.
here.
Funny cable.
You know it. I used to work for those guys.
There you go.
I would have to say on the top list. Now, my son is going to shoot me if I don't mention it, so I'll have to mention right away. It would be Macho Man Randy Savage.
Sure.
The old Macho Man,
Right.
all right? The WWE Saturday Night Main Event Macho Man. Ricky Steamboat is also on that list. I'd say the Brain Busters. I'm going to put them together. I love the
Tully
Brain
Blanchard, Aaron Anderson, also known as the Horseman.
Thank you.
Yeah, they used to work with the Horsemen. They used to work with the Rockers a lot, and they were just spectacular. I'd put, this list is way too short. I would put Shawn Michaels, and if I had to, you know what, it's a real hard pick because it's either between Great Muta, but a lot of people don't know who Muta is. He's from Japan. He's one of my all-time favorites.
Doyle? You know?
Yes, definitely.
He knows. He knows. I saw his eyes. I saw the twinkle in his eyes. It would be a toss-up between Muta and Austin because Austin made so much money.
All right, let me ask you this question. And again, I apologize. I'm going a long way around here, but I think of an Andre the Giant from my days of growing up. Big Show nowadays. What do you do with guys that are that size? I mean, these 7 foot, 450-plus pounders. What do you do with them? I mean, really?
You know what you do is you pray.
Yeah.
You pray. No, they lead it. So you're kind of on the hook for whatever they're game for. The biggest guy I ever wrestled was Mark Henry, the world's strongest man.
Big time.
Mark Henry.
Huge.
And it was filmed for Heat. But
Scary looking.
It was Heat off the pay-per-view. We were going into pay-per-view, and I wrestled him on theirs just before the pay-per-view, and it was Mark Henry against me, and it was only shown in the UK. And, I've never seen the clip, but that man beat the tar out of me. He stepped on my chest. You know, I did the walkover while I was laying down, and I couldn't get back up.
And all jokes aside, does he take you aside backstage and say, "Hey, just follow me, kid"?
Yeah, and you know what? With Mark, he's different. He wants your ideas. Mark was a great guy. You know, a lot of people don't know this, but I'm famous for, and I'll never get credit for it. But you know, Mark Henry's finisher is the world's strongest slam. That came from me.
Come on.
I came up with that. And the only reason I came up with that is all day. Mark
You didn't want to take anything else he's going to give you.
That's exactly, Chris. It's exactly right. It's not only
Hug
that.
it out here, boys.
He knows. He knows this stuff so well.
Yeah.
But I'll give you one better, Chris. Is he had been practicing me on all afternoon. They were trying to, because he just got back from injury, so they decided that let's put a new move on him. Let's make him so lethal. So they were throwing all these moves together. I had the Dudley boys in the ring with me. Everybody, all these big guys trying to show Mark a different move. So one move he gave me, Johnny Ace gave me, he's the guy who was an agent at the time, was a gut wrench power bomb. So it was a belly gut wrench that you land, flip over and land on your back. He turns it into a power bomb. I know, it sounds crazy. But then Mark gave it to me. And Mark dropped me sideways. And when you wrestle, you want to be dropped flat. Either
Sure.
on the back of your shoulders or flat.
Yeah.
Because then you can protect yourself.
All right.
So Mark drops me sideways and I get up and I'm angry. I'm angry by this point because I've been taking stuff for an hour straight. I said, you know what? Forget this stuff. I knew a really, really big dude that was the size of Mark Henry, just not that much muscle. This is what he did. I said, just pick me up like a cross-body catch and just drive me down. I said, and you see that move, and it's the most vicious move.
And the first one hurt like hell?
The first, it feels so light. That's
Really?
the best move.
Come on.
I took considering what I took all day, I would take that all day.
Wow.
Considering the amount of nonsense they made me take, that was the best move. And it stuck. That's what they kept them with. And I'll never, ever get credit for it. But that's what I gave them.
I'm not knocking the Demolition guys here because they're legends, but obviously at their age, they can't do what they used to do. But the two guys they fought, help me out here.
Oh, I don't remember them.
Okay, the two
Sorry,
guys, these
or I don't
XWA
remember their
guys,
names.
they made Axe and Smash look like they were 30 and it was 1985 all over again, if you know what I'm saying. So talk about that side of it there, the whole selling it with these guys who can't do what they used to do.
Well, that's the whole part. You really want a job in this business. I take it back. I always do this stuff look at stuff on YouTube that you can realize. So look at The Rock and Hogan from Toronto, WrestleMania. The Rock makes Hogan look like $1 million, and Hogan needed back surgery and 2 knee surgeries off that match. So, like, anybody who is anywhere gifted in this business and has the youth behind them and stuff like that, that's their job, is to make their other guy look good. I've been in there, like, I'd say a handful of times with guys like Jimmy Snuka, who was a lot of fun, great guy, great attitude. Hacksaw Jim Duggan, who I love to death.
Sure.
These guys, Tatanka, these guys are a little bit up there. Aches and pains aside, if you would just give them a little bit extra, they'll give you a little bit more.
But if you know you're in there with Hacksaw, you're taking the clothesline, and
I know that. I know, and when I'm in there with Hacksaw, that all I'm going to do to Hacksaw is punch him in the stomach, so it's careful, and stomp him a bit and choke him. That's all I'm going to do.
So
I know it.
Is it a badge of honor after a grind with Hacksaw Jim Duggan when he takes you backstage and says, "Hey kid, thanks a lot"?
Yeah, it's a real. I really respect that man a lot. All he's done, and for him to ask to have me out there with him on some nights, that's a good feeling. You know what I mean? He knows that he's safe with me. He knows that we can still have a match that people are behind and stuff like that, because you got the other side of it. Now, if I'm too careful or I look like I'm not vicious enough, no one's going to care about anything we do, right? And he's going to look like a chump for laying down for stuff like that. So it's a real balancing act. You got to find the real gray line of it. But like, it's a real honor when those guys say, "Man, you're just one hell of a kid."
Boys, I get the sneaking suspicion this could go on for another hour or so here.
Well, I was going to say, if I can be so bold, if I can ask you, Saturday night, let's say you're having a match at the Civic Center with Paddy Quinn. So can you sell the match for me?
Sell a match with Paddy Quinn? Well,
cut a promo on Paddy Quinn.
Paddy
More
Quinn.
in the shadows.
Well, you know what? If you're going to talk about having a wrestling match and you come back to your home province, you want to be in there with the best of the best. And, you know, even if the best of the best is known for being a brawler, a slugger, and not a technical wrestler like Paddy Quinn. Listen, Paddy Quinn, I've been around the world. The one thing that I do know is how to tie a man in knots. I don't care how big you are. The knots that I'll put in you are going to be painful. And when you think that you can get in the ring with me and punch with me and go toe-to-toe with the class of athlete that I am, God rest your soul, my friend.
And that big, heavier set lad running the opposite direction down the King George Highway is me right now.
Check out that license plate that says Quinn.
Tell me this real quickly as you wrap up here. As I listen to you, there's an aspect of showmanship here. So do you watch movies, TV, rock shows, and all that in a different vein, trying to pick something out?
You know what? You guys are let me just say this before I go. If you could add this in here, any part of this thing is like SUNFM, that you guys are awesome. Like the amount of, like, these questions are fantastic. Because I don't get questions that intriguing. Like, I don't get that. And that's a huge part of my industry, is watching media. I watch all forms of media at all times, because you have to know what people are digging and what people are into. And that's so smart to know that, to realize that, to ask that.
You know what? You just got me going again here. We're going to chew this one for 10 minutes, but say something like Twitter, where I can watch you, and at 9 o'clock the match is over, and at 10 after 9 I can go, "Hey, Dukes, you suck," and it's instant like that. That's got to be a game changer for the business.
It's a perfect system, because there is no reason now that you can't focus your attention on your career and be your own manager.
Yeah,
because you can always send stuff out.
Right.
And there's no reason why a guy shouldn't be heard anymore. It's just like the old seen and not heard thing anymore. It's opposite now. You should be heard all the time, and always trying to create a little bit of buzz. And that's what we do.
Well, that's no different than our business. That's exactly what we do.
We set up this interview over Twitter.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, right.
Here at 95.9 SUNFM, we want, the local boy made good, and you are a local boy who made good.
Right.
Yeah.
And we'll make better as we move down the line.
Just keep going.
Just keep on going.
Listen, this could go on for an hour, like I said before. Tyson, it's good to have some of your time. I'll let the final word be yours.
Well, let me just say that, Chris and Paddy, that it's great to be in here with you guys. It's great to be home. I love home. It's good to see all the people and everybody doing so well. Like not just on my end, but just everybody in general. It's good to be home because there's no place like home. This place is the best. You know, this is paradise. Like I tell everybody, Miramichi, New Brunswick is God's country. To me, it's God's country.
Absolutely.
So it's good to be home, and you know, I'm always thinking about home. And, you know, always look me up. I'm on Twitter, Tyson Dux, D-U-X. It's not Dux, it's Dukes, because I was a Jean-Claude Van Damme fan. And it's just great to be home, and it's good to be around good people.
Well, do Chris and I a favor in your travels, too. If they ever need some burly guys to handle a microphone in a ring, throw a word out for us.
You know I will.